Welcome to Conscious Living here at the Specially Produce Network. We are so glad you're here to support your lifestyle with the fastest growing resource for conscious families. So sit back, relax, connect, and enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Center for Conscious Kids Conscious Living Podcast. We are so excited to be here live in San Diego at the Specially Produce Network, presenting to you also live from Denmark. I'd love to introduce our podcast guest as we are talking about creating a loving bedtime. Welcome, Gitte Winter Graugaard.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your beautiful show.
Oh, we are so excited you're here. And we wanted to just share for a few moments about who you are and what you're bringing to the world. And being from Denmark, you're a best-selling author of books that help parents and their children thrive through child meditation. Her books are helping thousands of children fall asleep in more than 20 countries, creating a strong heart connection and a better understanding of the natural elements of fire, earth, air, and water. Gitte teaches parents to always parent themselves first before we parent our children and become aware of what we radiate. All I have to say is wow. That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Would you share with all of the audience how you got started? What inspired you to create these children's books?
Yeah, well, I've always wanted to become a writer. And one of the first books I wrote was a book for students in college called Student Life Without Stress. And I wrote it as a ghostwriter for a student counselor. And when I saw the statistics of students with stress, I was really shocked. And I began looking more into the statistics of how our young people, our kids, and our young adults, how they're doing. And, you know, I come from Denmark, and we're supposed to be one of the happiest countries in the world. So if we have these statistics, I don't even dare to think how it looks in other countries. And at this time, my girls were 3 and 6. And I was working part-time from home. I'd been 4 years on maternity leave, and I was being all of a mother that I could even dream of being. I had time for them, but still I had this feeling that something was different. Something is different growing up today than when I was a kid, and time was different. It felt like we had more time when I was a kid. And I started thinking, what can I teach you? I had this window of time open in front of me before they would hit university. And I thought that I could maybe give them some tools that would make them not have to read that book, Student Life Without Stress, because I think student life should be full of joy and, you know, moving away from home and figuring life out, but not full of stress. So I started looking for tools to help my children cope with life in the digital era, growing up as generation iPad with lots of screens and lots of stimuli and lots of impressions bombarded at them every day. And at this stage in my life, mindfulness and meditation was coming into my life, and I was meditating more and more. And I thought to myself, could we actually teach children to meditate? And I started just trying it out at bedtime, and so much magic came out of it. So that was actually the initiation of it.
Oh, that's so beautiful, and really the magic of that. Share with us a little bit of the magic that you create in supporting children's meditation. What does that mean to you, and what does that look like? Especially, you know, a lot of our podcasts are coming out of America because we're producing them out of the U.S., and in Denmark, what does that look like for the children in Denmark to create this happiness environment and to create this meditation process? What does that look like for you as a teacher and a facilitator?
Well, it sure does involve a lot of magic, I can say, because we get to co-create with the children in many ways, and we get a glimpse into their imagination and their meditations, which I believe is just some of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced is listening to my children after meditation, letting a little 3-year-old tell me about love and light and where we all come from, and how much love there is in the universe for all of us, and how they are connected to Mother Earth or each other or us or to their beautiful hearts is just so amazing. So for me, it's I don't think it's so different if you meditate with a child in Denmark or in the United States. I think it's the same, because we all pretty much come here as light and love, and I believe that children at this very young age can tell us something that we might have forgotten. So that's at least what I hear from a lot of parents abroad as well. So the one thing that is the door opener to start meditating with the methods that I teach is that you feel into the love you have for your child. And now that the books are selling in more than 20 countries, and I'm speaking to parents from many cultures, I can see that we might not agree on everything across borders. We might not, we might even fight over things across borders, but the love for our children is universal. So we all love our children. And that is so unique, that in this love for our children, we can unite. So I feel like Peter Pan sometimes, flying over a town and looking into bedrooms and seeing all these parents sitting with all their different cultures and tucking their children to bed in a blanket full of love. And I'm just so curious to know about these families and see how this love is just expanding in the families. And I don't think it has anything to do with whether you're in Denmark or United States, because the parents' love is just amazing anywhere.
You shared that so well and you validated that so well, because I think we do get stuck behind our own borders, or thinking that maybe our country's problems are alone to our own country and not everyone else. And so, just like you said, our problems may look different and feel different, and yet we are still universal. And that universality, right? I don't know, I'm going to make up a new word now.
Yes,
And our universality is that we are the same, and we are the same light, and we are the same love. And you're right, it's so neat to have young toddlers and preschoolers go into a meditation, and then you ask them what they sense, and they see stars, and they see colors, and they see rainbows, and like our friend in Iceland, they see the aurora borealis over there,
oh yeah.
in their mind, in their imagination, in their mind's eye, in their ability to connect to the whole universe. And it is really neat to see their wording and their sharing about how they sense the world around them. And it really does give parents an insight of how they're seeing the world that they don't always have an opportunity to explain or to share in words, or ways in which they're sensing those meditative experiences.
Yes, I completely agree. There is a tendency to think that we teach our children different things. And I often say, teach your child to meditate. But what I actually believe is going on is that if we do this with our children, they become the teachers, because they are so pure. And the way they meditate, you just sit next to a kid who's playing a good game. He's just completely mindful about the game, right? He's not
Right.
thinking about laundry or dishes or what to do tomorrow. He's inside that game, being
Right.
mindful about playing. And that is something we as parents need to train. Very often we've forgotten what it means to be mindful, and we have our minds spread on so many different activities. So sitting down those 10 minutes at bedtime and meditating with your child and seeing your child drift up into sleep with, like, while filling his or her heart with love, makes you pause for a second and just think, what just happened here? Like, usually they have maybe spent hours on a bedtime, and there's been screaming and a lot of exhaustion going on, and then they pick up this book and they fill their heart with love, And all of a sudden, everybody is just so calm and joyful, and the child is sleeping, and you can see that they have this little smile on their faces, and you're like, what just happened here? And that is actually what I'm looking for. I see this big effect with the book, and I see that a lot of children start to sleep. And then the effect that I'm looking for is for us as parents to start thinking about, okay, so what just happened was that I connected my child to his heart, and he fell asleep. What does that mean? What does that mean about the connection to our hearts? And then the parent often comes back to me and say, my child is just so amazing, and he can meditate, and I can't. I can't even meditate, and I have no connection to my heart, but I can see my child has. So can I have that connection as well? And then they open up to this whole awakening and this whole reconnection to their hearts and their bodies and their mind and their spirit. And it was the child that initiated it. And that is one of the gifts we get to receive as parents if we are open and awake and ready to see the gifts that our children come here with.
That's so beautiful. So part of that awakening process is knowing that you can. And then also receiving a book, right? The book that helps them guide through the story to create that meditation of connecting to your heart. And then that open mind to letting go of the moment, like you said, being really focused, like the child was in the game. We can be focused in the opportunity or the experience to help our child fall asleep with that loving connection to our heart.
Yes,
And
exactly.
then in the morning, maybe at breakfast or something, asking them about what did you experience as you fell asleep, so that they
Exactly.
become mindful of their sleep habits and their opportunities, and that they know that they have choice about what they would like to connect to before falling asleep.
Yes, and
Wow.
what I also love to do is have them draw this meditation takes place inside a mountain, a little love mountain, and then the children love to draw the mountain, and when they do, they often draw their hearts as well, because the heart is living inside this mountain, and we go visit the heart and fill it up with love. And when they draw the hearts, they are often full of colors. So we are trained as adults to make a red heart, and that's about the imagination we have. But these drawings are little bodies with big hearts, or their heart exploding out of the mountain with beautiful lights and unicorns and stuff, and that's what I like, because they see the beauty of life in a completely different way. Like we're so well trained to think that we know what a heart looks like, and then we see these drawings, we're like, okay, my heart is kind of boring compared to my child's heart. Do I have all these colors inside my heart too? And then they start getting curious, and that's what I really like.
Wow, that's amazing. So you do that in the morning to help them reestablish their routine of what they created in connecting to their
Yes,
heart? That's such a
yes.
great idea. Wow. And such
And
an
also because,
opportunity to explore even their conscious choices during that next day.
yes, and the reason we talk about it in the morning as well is because so there are 4 meditations in the book. And the first one, we teach the child to fill his heart with love. And in the second, we talk about the love we have between us. So we open up for more conversations about love, and love as an energy between us that can travel between us. So when we get a hug, we can feel each other, but we can also feel each other on a distance. And in the third meditation, we learn that this energy can travel all the way to school, or to camp, or to grandma's, or wherever we are. If our parents are divorced, it can travel between the houses. If we have a father in the military or something who is abroad, this love can travel. And that is a huge help for children to begin to understand that even though we are separate, the love can still reach us, between us. So I can send love to my father, and I can receive love from him, even though he is thousands of miles away from me. And that is such a reassuring feeling for the child. And then in the fourth, we teach them to open up and send love into the universe, to feed the field with love, and share their love with children who aren't as fortunate as these children are, to lie here in bed with a parent that is tucking them in a blanket full of love. So we teach them to share the love they have. And this whole way of talking about love is a good conversation over the breakfast table to say, so we're going to be apart today, and if the child is feeling sad about it, say, but remember you have your little love cloud, and I send your love all through the day, and it ends up in your cloud, and you can just drag the cloud close to you and get a hug from me. So we can, instead of thinking, oh, having the conversation full of shame or guilt, saying, yes, I have to go to work, and I have to make money so we can buy the bread and blah, blah, blah. And instead of going into that whole discussion, we can reassure the child, yes, we will be apart, but our love is never apart. In love, we are always united. In love, we're always together. And you can always, I send you so much love, even though I'm not physically with you. And that has just helped so many children. And I'm surprised to the effect. I hear it almost on a weekly basis. I hear from teachers or parents who have talked about the little love cloud and has helped the child who misses mommy or daddy.
That is a beautiful way to support children in connecting during the day. Because
Yeah.
I can't imagine any child on the planet that is separated, so to speak, from their parent in this idea of going to school and being in school and being in this other environment to learn and to learn different social skills and other activities, athletics and other activities, while in school. I don't know a single child that hasn't felt separate or felt lonely to want to be back home. And it does set up a negative opportunity when they feel that way during school, because then they're focused on wanting to go home versus actually focused on being present inside school and creating those choices and that fun and that excitement that can happen. And I agree with you. So if they move into that state of loneliness during school, maybe they have a boring subject or a subject they don't like, or they had a bad interaction with a friend or a teacher, they can take a moment to recognize, oh, I'm still loved. I have that love cloud. I'm
Yes.
connected. And so that helps them refocus, reframe, and then rejoin their environment versus carrying that loneliness or that sadness throughout the rest of their day.
Yes. And as we train it during the night when we are together, when we had this little cloud produced in Nepal, so sort of like a little teddy bear, they hang it. The kids who really need it, they hang it in their school bags, and they squeeze it. And as they also do that in the evening, when they are with the children, with their parents, they also squeeze it, and it's like they can store the energy of the parents' love inside the cloud. So when they squeeze it at school and they close their eyes, it's so easy for them to recall the meditations from last night and the feelings. And
Yes.
then they know, okay, I have all this love inside of me, because we teach them that they have this strong power of love in their hearts, and they are self-sufficient when it comes to love. And they can always fill their own hearts with love. And as we have taught them these things, in the middle of feeling lonely or whatever, feeling sad because mommy or daddy are away, or whatever they're feeling, like the sorrow there, we can never take that away. But what we can do is teach them methods to find inner strength to go through it, right? So there's
Yes.
nothing wrong with missing mommy or daddy, but when it gets out of control, or it prevents you from going to camp, or sleeping at your friend's house, or going to grandma's, or whatever it is, when it starts to prevent your child from going places, we need to take action. And the little love cloud has been one of the tools that many parents have found can help the children actually go through camp. It doesn't mean that they don't miss the parents, or they might even still cry, but they find the strength inside to go through it. And isn't that what we want to teach our children? That life is full of challenges, but we can manage them. We can find solutions to go through the whole self-efficacy. Like I haven't tried this before, but I know I can find a way through it, right?
Absolutely. Wow. That is a beautiful tool, and have you shared this idea and these concepts with the teachers in the schools as well? Do they kind of know what some of these kids are experiencing to reinforce it, especially when a child is singled out or challenged either internally or with others, to resume this tool to go back to that love cloud, that opportunity?
Mm. Yes, they do. Some teachers find the book a little hard to read because it's so full of love. The language is so full of love, and it is written for parents. But more and more teachers find ways to tweak the words a little bit so that they can also read them in class.
Wow.
Yeah, and I love that because then they will maybe start the morning reassuring the children. We start to fill our hearts with love. We start to connect with our parents. If you miss them throughout the day, they will have a little cloud up in their drawer. The children can come and open the drawer and pick out the cloud and just squeeze it. And then we can talk about how we can share love with our community, or if they go on a field trip and they see homeless people or they see people struggling, well, we can send love to them, and we empower the children to have a feeling that our love makes a difference, and how they then look at people who they are sending love to will make their impression of that person completely different from when they feel powerless and maybe even frightened, because some of these people live different lives than we're used to seeing, right?
Absolutely. Wow. And I completely envision this opportunity for teachers to read it in, I don't know, in America, maybe in other countries
Mm-hmm.
too, in circle time, right? I used to be a preschool teacher, and to
Mm-hmm.
have that tool inside the nursery schools and preschools and kindergartens and younger grades,
Mm-hmm.
to share with the children to help them with that loneliness feeling. And or
Yeah.
some nursery schools are even longer hours. I worked for a military preschool, and the
Yeah.
the parents, both parents are normally enlisted in the military. They have long hours, really early in the morning till in the later evening. So they're in the nursery schools sometimes 10 and 11, 12 hours a day. And it's
That's a
really
lot.
challenging for the young ones. And so to have these tools and opportunities
Mm.
in these situations where we don't mean to maybe have the kids so far away from home for so long, and sometimes it's just that part of society that we are in, and to
Mm.
have this opportunity to really share and to bridge them to their homes and to that love
Yeah.
is really
Yeah.
awesome.
And I honestly believe it makes better soldiers out of their parents as well. So,
Right.
yeah, but think about it. If you are expatriated, or if you are far away from your child and you are in difficult situations and stressful situations, it doesn't help that your child is crying in the phone every night, or that your child is crying for you at home every night. When you turn it around and you start talking about loving instead of missing, that takes a lot of stress away from the soldier who is in a stressful situation, maybe, or just maybe training in an academy of some sort.
Right.
I honestly believe that if our children are thriving and are not longing for us and crying for us, we have less stress in our lives, and we want our soldiers to have as little stress from their home base as possible. So even if they're training or if they are in a war zone, I think this is extremely powerful.
Extremely powerful, and absolutely to really reiterate that, to support our children moving from the idea of missing to loving, and having the
Mm-hmm.
tools and the understanding on how to connect with that is
Yes.
absolutely beautiful.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then should something happen, I also work with families where one of the parent is sick and maybe even terminals, maybe dying, or grandparents who are dying, or if a soldier isn't coming home, having this language of love as an energy that can travel opens up to the discussion that love can also travel into heaven, and we can send the little love cloud into heaven and still have it filled up from the people we love and we miss who have passed to the other side. So it's also a way of talking about life and love, and also when we have to say goodbye. So it helps the children to connect to the people they have to say goodbye to. Even
Yes.
if they didn't have the chance to say goodbye, they feel a connection into heaven in a different way. So it's also used for families with parents in hospitals or hospices, or grandparents dying, even pets. I mean, you can really long for a dog in heaven as well when you're little.
Yes. And a birdie or a hamster or a gerbil, all those kinds of
Yeah.
our little pet friends. And it is such a beautiful thing. I mean, what you're really describing here is you're helping to heal the perception or the awareness of separation.
Yes. And I know you will appreciate this, Ashley, knowing you, that we also teach them to heal themselves, right? So we teach them to turn up the love for themselves, inside themselves.
Yeah.
So when I was a little kid and my father would read me stories and I would dream of becoming an author, I thought I would write fairy tales and open up these imaginary worlds for children. And today I understand that the worlds I'm opening children up to are the inner worlds, the inner resources and the inner fairy tales and the inner beautiful landscapes they have inside. And that, like, kids today don't need more entertainment, not more screens, more action. What they desperately need are tools to help them cope with life and go through life and understand the beauty they have inside and all the strength they have inside when they are connected to their hearts.
Yes.
And to nature, of course, as well.
Wow. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing with all of us today in all of these ways that we can support ourselves first, and then our children in supporting them in loving in these ways by giving them the tools to help them heal the pain and or the suffering that they may experience from time to time of feeling separated from their parents, from their grandparents, from their pets, from all of those around them, to moving from missing to loving.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Beautifully said.
So you have a free gift for everyone who's listening to the podcast, and to get them started on their meditation, you can be reached through, and it's Room, ROOM 4 FOR Reflection REFLECTION.com, and then it's / free stuff, and free stuff is FREE-STUFF / and we will put that as a link in the comments section of Facebook and YouTube and the other avenues in which we post on social media. So thank you so much, Gitte, for sharing with us the beautiful way we can all create a loving bedtime. Thank you
for having me and having such a beautiful podcast and all the work that you do too.
Thank
you.
So
important.
Oh, thank you. And thank you all so much for joining us. Have a beautiful bedtime tonight.
Yes.
Thank you all for listening to this podcast. We are so grateful for you tuning in and experiencing the innovations and opportunities we all can incorporate into our daily lives. Connect with us at centerforconsciouskids.com to sign up for the latest news that showcases these revolutionary services and products. Our global website provides families with an online conduit for enrichment and transformation in all our lives. Please share with other kids and families who would enjoy these advancements in living consciously. I'm Ashley Lee, and I thank you so much for joining us.